Hello and welcome to the Millennium Sessions podcast. I'm here with
Blusheep.wav.
and Blusheep's just after giving us a lovely performance with his world famous SP404. So I guess tell me how you got started. Firstly on music in general and then veering into the whole hip hop side and beat making and rapping on top of that.
I guess the start and the end are the same, and then there was like a whole journey in the middle. Like I started just loving hip hop, listened to Eminem when I was really young, probably too young, and and just loving music, loving like learning off lyrics. That was like my thing. I used to like learn rap songs off by heart and say them to people, and then I just loved music, and I got into making music. But while I got into making music, a whole world of like different genres came at me. Like I opened my world to music. So I loved psychedelic rock, 60s, 70s, all the way up. I listened all through lockdown, different stuff. And that was right when I started making music. So if you go back and I listen, I'm making all sorts of wackadoodle stuff. Like a lot of it's not good, but still, it was something to grow from. Anyway, it came to be that I loved making beats. I loved making beats on GarageBand. And then I joined the course. And I realised I needed to upgrade, so I bought an SP404 in all her beauty. And there we go, yeah. So now I'm back making beats. But I did take a few hiatuses, if that makes sense, like a few different detours. I play guitar as well, so that always leads me down different paths. So yeah.
And was it always kind of being a musician that you wanted to do? Or was it just something you kind of fell into?
Something I fell into, I'd say. It wasn't like, oh, this was destiny. Like I wasn't ever thinking I was going to be making music. Really, only when I was like 16, 17, I was like, oh, it'd be cool to start making music. Because I love listening to it. And I always kind of trusted my ear. Even before I listened to music, I always like trusted like what I like is what I like. And that's something I like to carry through to this day. So yeah, it wasn't destined. Like I thought I was going to be a soccer player when I was younger. Thought I was going to be the next Roy Keane. and like I was that kid. I was like, I'm going to do this, and then like next year you ask me, and I have another dream. Do you know in school when someone's like, what are you going to be in 5 years? And they ask you, and you have to draw a picture.
Yeah.
If you go back, every single one of my pictures is completely different. Like it was every one I was going to be like the president of Ireland. The first one I was going to be like an astronaut. Like I was always doing different things. So yeah, it wasn't just music.
President of Ireland still in the books.
Probably, yeah.
Maybe there's an election coming up, you know.
I'll start canvassing.
Yeah.
This is the first interview for the presidential election.
Yeah, we're kickstarting it here, lads. But so going back with getting your start, you said it was mostly GarageBand to start off.
GarageBand, yeah, I love GarageBand.
And was that just because it was the most accessible thing?
Yeah, it's really accessible. It's really easy, and you can't get imposter syndrome on GarageBand because, like, when you're using a DAWs will make you feel stupid if you don't know what you're doing. They'll make you'll like confront yourself with like, oh, this is an EQ. I don't know how this works. Like your general understanding of what goes on in a DAW is like 10% when you start, and only when you start to learn like bits and moving parts. With GarageBand, it just makes sense to anyone. I was shown GarageBand by a friend of mine who never made music in his life. He just liked the app. GarageBand as an app itself is just cool to mess around with. You can make a beat on your phone in 10 minutes. Like, what's not to love?
It's kind of more unwelcoming because it's still a DAW, but it's not portrayed as such. It's portrayed as more of like My Singing Monsters for your iPhone or some like game you get on the App Store.
Those vocal effects are crazy. And in GarageBand, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
There's like a monster vocal effect. You can make yourself sound like a chipmunk. You just try anything you want, and you don't feel like oh, I'm like creating this masterpiece. You're just messing around, and that's the whole like idea of making music. Like you're just engaging in that childlike state. So that's why I liked it. And then Steve Lacy was like making these mad tunes, and he came out with saying like all of this is made on an iPhone. There's that TED Talk on YouTube. You've probably seen it.
I have, yeah.
Yeah. He's like the bare maximum. It's pretty inspiring. So yeah, started from there. That was the first like pop on the pogo stick, I suppose.
And then after that, did you experiment with any other DAWs before hopping straight into the SP, or was it just? Yeah, there's also what like inspired the purchase of an SP.
Well, I suppose the first question leads into the second one there, because I did experiment with different DAWs, and I tried Ableton for a while. Still use Ableton. Really, I didn't like the fact that in a DAW you can just do like a take, and then you can change it and do another take. And if you're not happy with that, you can do another take, and you can just keep going until it's 12 o'clock and you're tired. You got to go to bed, and you might not even have a tune. I wanted something that can really just give clarity, like to your workflow, to my workflow. So I was always like, oh, like what can speed up this workflow? I knew analog stuff was always so like you can just do a take and you have to stick with it. So you have to be really critical. I like that idea. I like the idea of not having to. You don't have the chance even to go back and re-record it. You have what you have. That makes me better. That makes musicians better, I think. Analog gear is stupid expensive though, so I was like, I'm not going to get like a Tascam. It's worth 200, but it costs like $2,000 and done deal. So I got this, which I think is definitely a bang for its buck, because this has the analog sense, because there is no undo button. It's still the same thing as analog, where you have to just record in. As well as that though, it samples drums really well. There's a beat sequencer, and then I just watched a load of videos on YouTube, and it looked really cool. So yeah, it felt like a right decision. And I got my rent back in my apartment, got my deposit back, $400 into my account.
So that justified it.
And I was like, I'm going to spend this stupidly, or I'm going to spend it wisely.
And well, judging by the day, you spent it wisely anyway.
Here.
But do you think it's kind of lost on maybe producers and musicians today of that kind of like game kind of enjoyment aspect of making music? Like talking about how you went on GarageBand and you were just messing around with it because it was a game, and then you were like, oh, I can make music out of this. But then a lot of producers will move on to something like Ableton or FL Studio.
Then it's not a game
and
anymore.
It's not a game anymore. It's not fun. Do you find that maybe the tactileness of an SP kind of brings back that joy
of
making
question.
music?
Yeah, that's definitely true. I think it does. I think it does bring it back. I think objects. We like things as humans. We like to touch an object, to have something in your hand while making music. That's one reason why this brings back the whole game element, because it feels like you're playing with your toy spaceship when you're a kid. But also I read something recently about like just generally now, just with music, when you go from going to making music for fun to doing it on a DAW, it goes from playing and messing around. It goes from there to, oh, you're bringing this music into a DAW, and it's not going to sound good unless you get really good at this thing. So you have to get really good at music now. And then a lot of people get creative like blocks and writer's blocks, because they're like, oh, like I can't use this piece of software unless I'm really good, and I'm not as good as this person and this person, therefore I'm not good enough. Like there's all that kind of imposter syndrome. I'm referencing imposter syndrome a lot because it's a big thing with DAWs. And DAWs make you feel like you're stupid. That's why I don't like them. But I use them all the time as well.
You have to use it, like you have to use a DAW eventually. And
they're brilliant, like, it's a brilliant invention and stuff, but you have to work around sometimes. That's my workaround. Like people have their own gear. Everyone needs to find their way of making music that works for them. Do you know what I mean? Because it's an individual thing at the end of the day.
And the whole, like you were saying with imposter syndrome and making music. So something that like I feel like what we were saying is lost on a lot of musicians is the fact that you're no longer making, once you get to that step as a musician where you're no longer making music just for fun, you're like, I want to make something out of this. Do you feel like that's the root of all writer's block, or is writer's block just something that comes with being a musician?
Ooh, that's a good question. It's something that comes from being a creative due to external factors, whatever they are. I think one of the possible external factors is the like professional thing. Like, oh, I have to do this professionally, so it needs to be good. It's ironic because like having that thought in your mind, I need to be professional, that will actually slow you down. It might hinder your own creativity, and that will actually affect your professionalism later on because you won't be able to make music. I think there's a load of different reasons. There's a load of different things that can cause writer's block, and there's a load of different things that can get you out of it as well. Having good people around you that can like tell you like if you make something you think it's bad, like ask someone And like if you trust them, then they'll probably tell you if it's bad, and if they're honest, like that's one thing. Being critical of yourself can cause it. There's a lot of external things. It's kind of like you're like manipulating yourself. You're like, oh, this is really bad, or you might think that like what you're doing isn't proper, legit. It isn't legit. It's not like, it's not a real thing. You might see someone that's better than you. You're like, oh, I'm not as good as them. But really, like once you return to the whole idea of just you're doing it for fun, however hard that may be, it usually goes away. That's the whole thing. Like getting back to, like I had definitely had writer's block before I got that, and even when I had it, I had like creative blocks. But then like changing your workflow, having people around you that are honest, and yeah, experimenting as well, and trying different different types of art forms like drawing and stuff can help it. I don't know if that was really your question, but they're my 3 tips for curing writer's block. But yeah.
Blusheep's top 3 tips to get over a writer's block.
Yeah, speak from experience.
But yeah, just with writer's block, do you feel also maybe collaboration helps? Because in the kind of music genre you're working in, you do a lot of collaboration as a beat maker. 4
tips then. That's the 4th one.
Collaboration.
That's a good one. That's really good. Like again, you can't overthink when someone else is in the room, because they're just gonna move on, and you have to kind of move with them. Like if like creativity is about motion, like you're starting at one point and you're moving to another, and sometimes you carry and sometimes they carry, and when you're by yourself, like you've all the pressure on yourself to kind of keep going, and that's why collaborating is good, because in moments where you feel the doubt, that other person probably isn't going to feel that doubt at this exact same time as you are. They might feel it at a different time when you're not feeling the doubt, and you can like carry each other on. Like I think most of the greatest songs probably done through collaboration, whether it be like someone wrote a song and they brought it to the producer, or it was just like a duo, like 2 people writing a song to start. But yeah, with that song, like Listen to This, like that was me and Godwin collaborating. Just like he made a beat, I made the lyrics, I did the lyrics, and yeah, just kind of built. And then Michael on the trombone. Like I think most of my favorite songs I've done have been collaborations, which is great fun until I have to perform them, and then I have to like get onto everyone like, yo, can you perform this with me and stuff. But yeah, collaboration's really fun. Definitely recommend it.
So with collaboration, how do you decide really who you want to collaborate with?
Vibes, vibrations. All about the vibes. Even
if they've never picked up an instrument in their life,
it's really all about the vibes. Like I have this friend, he's a rapper. I won't say his name, but he doesn't consider himself a rapper, and he probably won't ever do it like seriously. But I love making music with him because his vibe. He's just like, he sees it as fun, and he's just not. There's no ego in the room, and when you can get the ego out of the room, fun shit happens.
So it's more of rather than you could have really like 2 really talented producers working together, but they won't necessarily make a good song.
No, they won't meld, because like you could have 2. It's like you have to, at some point when you're collaborating, you have to meld together at one point or another. And like if you've got 2 brilliant musicians side by side, what good is it if one won't listen to the other? Like it has to fuse, and like it's better to like fuse. It's better to work with someone that will fuse with you, and you fuse with them. Even if their ability might not be that good, even if it's not that good, as long as you can connect, something will be made. But like, it's not always going to work just because 2 people are really good, like individually. Chemistry is a big thing, and it's definitely overlooked as well, especially with like top tier collaborations. Like labels are like quick to put artists together because they're like, well, you made a great song and you made a great song. That means you have to make good music together, but it's not always the case. So chemistry, yeah, it's very interesting. I'd love to delve deeper into why like people collaborate well or not well. It's definitely to do with ego, and definitely to do with removing it in the room, and like being kind of vulnerable and being okay with being vulnerable to them as well. Yeah, and having the same goals, wanting the same outcome.
Dan, do you find that much within firstly Limerick's hip hop scene, and then the rest of Ireland, because there's a very growing hip hop scene in Ireland at the moment?
Yeah, there's not much people I've collaborated with. Like, well, there is. Like, I literally just said 5 minutes ago, I've collaborated a lot. I have collaborated with people, but it feels like there's not much people I've collaborated with where it's been me reaching out and it's been an official collaboration. Usually it's just in passing. But yeah, what was your question again about collaborate?
Not necessarily about collaboration, but just kind of your opinions and your thoughts on the Limerick scene and then the Irish scene of hip hop at the moment.
Yeah, Limerick is good. Like Limerick is very independent. Like it's very. I'm not that into punk music, but I love the punk ethos of Limerick, and it like carries through into like the music, no matter what genre it is. It's just like, give it a go. Like people will be quick to just like say, oh yeah, like I'll do a tune with you. I'll put down a verse. I'll make a beat, even if like it doesn't end up getting released. Like people are very open minded. So yeah, I haven't ventured out too far outside of Limerick. I've done a few things in Cork, and Dublin. So yeah, I don't think it depends on the place. I think it depends on the person. I've done collaborations in Berlin and stuff. I don't think it's like, oh, people are easier to collaborate with in this place. It's all about the person. It's an individual. So yeah, but generally Limerick's pretty chill.
And how do you kind of, as a beat maker or a rapper, how do you get yourself out there within the scene?
It's hard, bro.
Hard?
Yeah, you gotta there's one way to get yourself out there as like an artist, like to the public, and then there's like getting yourself out there to other musicians, like being like, oh, collaborate with me, let's do stuff together. It's two different worlds, because being with a fellow musician, it's like you're on the same kind of on the same team in a way. You're on the same kind of side of the fence. You're trying to get out to the public, so you seem like, oh, I can be your friend and we can collaborate together. You
both want the best for each other.
Yeah, exactly. And if the goals are the same, if the goals align, if you both want to like grow and succeed, it usually works. But then getting out to the public, it's hard to reach people these days with like social media. And it feels like the more you try, the more you realize like you have to try hard. Like it's a fight, like, because you feel like all these other people making content all the time. And everyone's really good. Everyone's getting better at making content at a quicker rate than they're getting better at being musicians, really. So it's a bit of a fight.
It's a content game now.
It is, yeah. Unfortunately.
And with the Limerick scene, I know you're involved with this Wheel Ups collective.
Wheel Up Wednesday. Yes. Shout out Wheel Up Wednesdays.
So how did that sort of thing get started, and what is Wheel Up Wednesdays?
Okay, so first of all, Wheel Up Wednesdays was a thing before I ever even knew about it, like for like a year at least before, and it was a thing before like a lot of us became involved with it. I think it started off with Michael, Teju and Dara of second year just doing like a weekly DJ, just like DJing in Dara's house, just like for the laugh. And then what it grew into is kind of mad. Like I feel like it's a collective. It's a DJ collective. It could also be the options are limitless, but at the moment I feel like it's a DJ kind of collective that we want to push forward the Limerick scene, and by doing that we DJ, we produce, we make beats, we play beats, and we rap over them, freestyle, and it's really fun. We I think it's definitely like probably the brightest spark in the Limerick scene at the moment, across the board. Like genuinely, it feels like there's like good shit happening there.
And just when you were talking about the fact it's kind of DJs centered as well as beat makers and rappers.
It's a hard thing to describe. I don't know if I fully encapsulated it there now, but sorry, go on.
I gave it a go. But I've seen you DJ before, but you don't DJ on decks.
Nah.
You DJ on this fella here, the
Yeah.
SB404.
Yeah, I like to DJ on that because I guess like I use it anyway, and I see DJing as a way, as like I have another opportunity to figure out how to use this piece of kit, because like it's its own world. And I think I just started DJing on it once. Like I was asked to do DJ, say I didn't have decks. I was like, oh, it has a DJ mode, let's figure it out. And now I'm just being a stubborn fucker. Sorry for cursing, but I'm being stubborn because I'm like, oh, I figured out how to do it on this. Let me try. And I can DJ on decks though. I can, but I'm not great. I'm probably better on that. And I just feel a bit connected to this thing because I make a lot of music on it now, and it's like my first base for most music things that I'm involved in. So
Do you think
Yeah.
that's better though than to be rather than be a jack of all trades and being like knowing a little bit of Pro Tools, knowing a little bit of Ableton? Do you think it's better to kind of focus in on one piece of hardware?
I feel like I am a jack of all trades.
Yeah.
I'm not that great at this.
But you're obviously very dedicated to the SP and making music on it and DJing on it.
Before that, though, I was a jack of all trades, and I definitely felt like, I want to commit to something. To answer your question, I do think it's better to commit to something, but I wouldn't say it's necessary, and you don't need to you don't need to like force yourself to commit to something. I think you should just want to naturally, and as a creator, you'll naturally just find something that you're drawn to, and don't like force yourself to just like, don't like lock yourself in a room with an SP just because you think that you should commit to it. Like, only do it if it feels right. Which is sounds kind of cliche, but it's true. And yeah, whatever it is. So yeah, jack of all trades. Like, we're all jack of all trades. You have to be.
I suppose you're in this course. You have to be.
You have to be, literally. Like, you're setting up a lighting rig 1 minute, and then the next minute you're mixing a tune. The next minute you're learning about your F sharps and your G sharps. Like, it's all like jack of all trades. The world we're in. Like, but yeah, eventually you just have to specialize. Like.
But I mean, your whole recent EP released, was that mostly made on the SP?
Eviction tape.
Yeah, was that a mix of kind of...
All on the SP. It was made all on the SP as beat. Was it? Yeah, all the beats were made on the SP, and maybe like a few pieces were added on afterwards, but all the what's the word? Like the general scope of the beat, like the nucleus. I was trying to think of some sciencey word. The nucleus of all the beats were SP made. And I think that's probably why it does sound like kind of cohesive to me. And then like, also I think the SP has a sound as well, so I kind of committed to that for the project. It might not be like that for every project, but for that one I was definitely in my exploratory mode of like, oh, what can this thing do? So yeah, I think that's why it sounds like all like the same.
And what's the plan for after the Eviction tape? You have any new music you're working on? Or
Got a bit of music.
Always working on music.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm working on collaborating again. I'm making music as any spare minute I have. I'm trying to make music. And yeah, I have a few gigs coming up. And you'll see the new music if you go.
Well,
yeah.
With that segue, I think we'll wrap it up. Thank you so much for doing this interview and performing today.
Cheers.
And Blusheep, we'll see you.
Thank you.